Every single day, about 21% of the world's total oil consumption flows through one tiny, cramped corner of the ocean. The energy that keeps cities running and dictates the prices you pay at the pump depends almost entirely on what happens in this single gateway. This narrow ocean corridor is the Strait of Hormuz, linking the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Sea. The tightest gap between Iran and Oman is only 33 kilometers. The usable space is even smaller. Giant oil tankers squeeze into shipping lanes exactly 3 kilometers wide. Because of that severe bottleneck, this strip of water is a geopolitical time bomb. Those 3-kilometer lanes are flanked by naval mines and missile batteries, where one wrong move could send shockwaves through the global energy market. The stakes are so high that massive civilian energy ships often require direct military escorts just to safely transit the gap. Past the radar screens and the warships, the Strait of Hormuz reveals a different reality, an ancient, untouched geological masterpiece hiding directly on its shores. On Hormuz Island, the soil's high concentration of iron oxide stains the beaches and ocean waves a vibrant rust-red color. This mineral-rich dirt is known locally as galac. The earth itself is edible. Locals use it as an everyday spice to flavor their food. You can literally taste the island. Just down the road is Rainbow Valley. The ground here is a natural salt dome built up over millions of years, containing up to 70 different minerals. The landscape shifts between deep reds, bright yellows, and ash gray, depending on how the sunlight hits the minerals. Nearby on Kashmir Island lies Namekdan. Stretching over 6 kilometers straight into the earth, it is the longest salt cave on the planet. Walking inside feels like stepping into an underground kingdom. The dense, solid salt crystal walls absorb almost all sound, creating absolute silence. People travel here just to breathe the air, which is loaded with negative ions that act as a natural respiratory treatment. Then there is Chaku Canyon. The wind and rain have spent millions of years carving wavy patterns into the limestone walls, making the rock look like melted wax. The ancients carved holes directly into the floor of this natural fortress to catch and store scarce rainwater. Long before any drill touched an oil reserve, millions of years of extreme geological pressure had already sculpted the true wealth of the strait. Life in the Persian Gulf has to survive hypersaline water and scorching summer temperatures. The Hara forest is a massive network of green trees that appears to float on the ocean's surface when the tide rolls in. The dominant Avicennia marina tree has the rare ability to drink seawater directly. Its bark acts as a superfilter, blocking salt at the root level, allowing fresh water to travel up the trunk. Excess salt is pushed out through its leaves. Because large stretches of the strait remain isolated, wildlife thrives in the quieter pockets. Just off the coast of nearby Hangam Amand, you can find wild dolphin pods hunting and playing in the crystal-clear water. Life here has spent millions of years developing specialized biological machinery to bypass environmental limitations, allowing rare ecosystems to flourish where most things would wither. In the ancient coastal village of Laft, the skyline is defined by a forest of square towers rising above the mud brick roofs. These are badgers, or wind catchers. Long before electricity, the inhabitants built this zero-energy system to catch the cool sea breeze, funnel it down into their homes, and vent the blistering desert heat back out. The local women wear distinct, rigid masks called borg. While they offer protection from the sun and blowing sand, historically, their mustache-like shape was used to trick incoming invaders into thinking the village's women were actually male warriors from a distance. That ingenuity extends to the open water. Directly on the sand, craftsmen construct massive wooden lens ships over 30 meters long, designed to cross the ocean all the way to East Africa. The United Nations recognizes this building process as a cultural treasure because they don't use blueprints or modern computers. Every curve is shaped by hand, using simple tools and knowledge passed down entirely from memory. The coastline is still guarded by massive 17th century Portuguese military outposts, a reminder of the foreign empires that once tried to dominate these trade routes. The massive forts were carefully engineered for survival, built entirely from local coral stone, and equipped with massive underground cisterns to harvest rainwater, allowing soldiers to outlast prolonged sieges in the heat. Survival in the strait relies on this type of engineering, a history of finding ways to outlast both a hostile climate and relentless foreign empires. Today, the world's obsession is squarely focused on that 33-kilometer shipping lane. Superpowers treat it like a high-stakes chessboard, terrified that a disruption in the oil flow could break the global economy. But history shows that the strait breaks empires, not the other way around. In 1864, the British built a station on a tiny rock here called Telegraph Island. The isolation and heat were so intense that soldiers literally lost their minds, birthing the phrase, "going round the bend." They abandoned the post within 5 years. The massive steel tankers and missile batteries patrolling the water right now are temporary. They pale in comparison to indigenous cultures that have held the coast for 2,500 years, or a salt cave that took millions of years to form. While the world watches the shipping lanes as an economic trigger point, the land itself tells a longer story, one of an eternal, living museum that will outlast the modern age of oil.